All right, so my go-to EDC pistol is this Floyd's Custom M&P with the Apex trigger. For, I don't know, a little over a year now, I have had it topped with the auto adjust Type 2 RMR. I really have to say I am less than impressed. Sure, the RMR is durable. The glass is nice and clear. There's no question that Trijicon makes the best quality micro red dots on the market. They sure in the hell better for what they charge. Now, the self-adjusting RMR, it may be just a little bit cheaper than your standard RMR, but it's still not cheap. Trijicon quite literally is the standard for micro red dots, and any company that comes out with a micro red dot, if it doesn't at least come close to the RMR, because let's face it, nobody's going to match the RMR. If they don't come close to the RMR, they have literally no business being on a carry gun. So I made the assumption that the auto adjust RMR would hold true to those standards that Trijicon has set, those standards that we've all come to know over the years. Now, the optic itself, it is durable as hell, but the self-adjust feature is trash. And I do mean trash. My assumption that Trijicon would have an auto adjust feature that actually works was wrong. Dead wrong in the most literal sense. During daylight hours, the dot performs just fine. It shows up nice and bright. I can see it. It's visible. It's easy to find. No complaints there. The problem comes in somewhat low light conditions. Now, if you're indoors or if you're outdoors and a cloud just happens to come by and block the sun a little bit, that optic decides that it is going to dim down to the point that it is barely visible. It's almost like the sensor itself is overcompensating for the difference in light when it really has no need to. This thing could stay on its absolute brightest setting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it would be just fine. It may get less battery life. I got it. But at least I would still be able to see it. And I know what you're thinking. I am always the one preaching about how in low light conditions, you should be using a weapon mounted light. And yes, you should be using a weapon mounted light. The problem is that when you use a weapon mounted light with this RMR, the sensor goes crazy. The optic can't tell if it's low light or bright light. It doesn't know what the hell to do. Now, I totally get the advantage of the light sensor and how it dims down the red dot to the point that it does. You know, it's going to get a lot better battery life that way. But honestly, if I can't see my dot, what in the hell use is having it? I'd rather have that sucker cranked up all the way 24 hours a day and have to change my battery twice a year than have it dim itself and me pull it out and not be able to see the damn dot. I'd seriously sacrifice the battery life for a brighter dot in low light conditions, like literally no questions asked. When the auto adjust RMR gets into any type of low light situation, what happens is it dims that dot down to the point that it gets so tiny that you can't see it at all. You're down to using your iron sights at that point. The little bit of money that I saved by going with the auto adjust RMR versus the standard one, it wasn't worth saving. I think at the time, the savings was only like $75 to $100. We're talking about, a $500-600 optic here. Looking back, I should have spent that extra $100 and got the standard RMR instead. In reality, I should have saved even more money and purchased a hollow sun to put on the M&P. But you know how it goes. Hindsight is always 20/20. I guess what I'm saying here is Trijicon seriously dropped the ball when it came to creating a micro red dot that had a usable auto adjust feature. If you're looking at buying a micro red dot for your pistol, whatever you do, do not waste your money on the auto adjust RMR. It is absolute garbage and nobody should purchase it. The fact that Trijicon even put this thing out on the market has really sealed the deal for me. I'm not going to buy any more of their optics. I'm just not going to do it. I can spend a hell of a lot less money and I can buy a hollow sun. And as far as performance goes, they're damn near as durable as the RMR. They've got a lot of cool features. They use the same footprint. And I know what you're thinking. They're not an American company. And I would love to spend my money with a company that's based in America. For me, though, it just kind of stings when you spend $400 or $500 on an optic and it really doesn't perform the way that you would expect it to, especially considering that it's an American-made product. I can go ahead and I can support a dozen other companies that are American made within the firearms industry, but I just can't spend any more money on Trijicon anymore. So if you're eyeballing one of these auto adjust RMRs, just don't do it. Throw down the extra money to get the standard RMR, or save yourself some money and buy yourself a Holosun.